What's going on, people on the internet? Welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to show you why you need to upgrade to the latest GoPro. Let's get to it. All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope all is well. Today, I want to show you 4 reasons why you definitely need to upgrade to the latest GoPro. All right, so to start off, reason number 1, and it's probably the biggest and only reason why I actually upgrade to the latest GoPro, and that's the battery life. Before I actually start talking about the battery life of the actual GoPro itself, some history. You know, why I actually think the new Hero 11 Black battery life is so great is because, you know, I've used the Hero 4 Silver in the past. My friend allowed me to use it when I was on a road trip from like New Jersey to Texas. I actually also personally own the Hero 7 Black. I used it when I was into Colorado in the past when I went to like Copper Mountain. And I've also used it when I went to Okemo when I went to Vermont. The Hero 7 Blacks, the Hero 4 and everything, those action camera series did its job before an average user who didn't actually own a professional camera. But now that I actually own one and actually know what I'm doing kind of like for the most part for like image quality, battery life, all that type of stuff for different moments, those batteries absolutely sucked. GoPro, I'm so glad you finally did your job in actually making a decent battery life because, you know, here's some footage of when I used the Hero 7 Black when I was snowboarding. All right, so that was pretty dope footage in my personal opinion. That first GoPro pass was what I planned for, but that second one, completely unplanned for what it was supposed to be. But if you see that one moment in the video and the audio kind of keeps going, but there's a frame hold, I didn't do that in like when I was editing the actual thing in Premiere Pro. The actual footage was completely corrupted because the battery of the Hero 7 Black couldn't survive. This little thing just couldn't do its job. Absolutely sucked, was super disappointed, and you know, I feel like I missed so many other dope footages that I could have gotten, but it couldn't survive the cold. And that really frustrated me and really did not, you know, allow me to trust in GoPro from there on. But if you didn't check out last week's video, I went to Colorado, so feel free to check it out right here. I go snowboarding a lot, and here, if you want to see like right here, I'll put like the screenshot of the weather when I was in Breckenridge. It was cold. It was like -2 and everything. It was just absolutely bonkers. And you know, obviously I was actually, you know, coated with everything with my actual snowboard gear, but I actually did not plan on buying like the super suit or whatever it's called to kind of encase the whole thing. You know, I had it for the 7, but I didn't buy it for the 11 because I obviously spent like $500-600 for the damn thing with like filters. So I definitely didn't want to put more money into this thing if it doesn't work. So all you things you saw in that previous video that I posted last week, you know, I didn't have a case. I didn't have anything on this thing. It was just as you see this on a mount, on my shoulder, on the stick, and it survived for once. And all that footage, nothing cut out. If you want to have trust a little more, I bought 2 more batteries. I warmed it up and everything. I didn't warm up this one when I was in the camera, didn't do any of that jazz. It was -2, wind conditions were crazy, and you know, I actually have a friend who owned the 10. That camera didn't survive, mine did, and I actually brought only 1 battery. You know, it only went through 1 actually. The other 2 are in my pocket, and I was prepared to kind of keep them ready to kind of swap when I needed to do it. But surprisingly enough, I only needed 1 battery for the whole entire day. You know, it was crazy, and I was super surprised. You know, from the 7 to the 11, it was absolutely like light years, different universe in itself between one another. So if that's not enough information for you guys, I don't know what to tell you, because literally I finally am having my trust in GoPro again, that the battery life actually survived for what it actually is supposed to do as an action camera. So thank you so much, GoPro, for finally creating what it's supposed to do. Reason 2, and that's the image quality. I don't really know too much of whether you guys are looking for that specific reason, but the image quality is definitely light years away from the 7 to the 11. But if you're looking for like the best of the best, you know, I can't really compare since I don't have the DJI Osmo, but for sure when I'm going from the 7 to the 11, you know, in low light situations, as well as just the image quality, the resolution and everything, and just the crispiness of the actual footage is so much better. You know, back then when I had the 7, you know, it's like 2.7K for the resolution, and now it can go 4K and higher. You know, that's crazy. I definitely think that's awesome, you know, for videos like this. You know, I'm having like different perspectives, you know, for like my A7S III to my GoPro. You know, I don't have to upscale or downscale anything or whatever. I can set it to what I need to do for these specific videos for YouTube. If you're an avid user, the image quality from like, believe the 9, 10, and 11 is just pretty similar. So I don't think you should upgrade if you have that. But if you're going from like 7 and before, or maybe just maybe the 8, I definitely think if you're looking for resolution, these guys did great. So I definitely think that if you're more of an editor like myself, I definitely think the versatility of the 11 is the way to go. Reason 3, and that's stabilization. Now, I'm not really sure what type of user you are specifically for an action camera. You know, particularly for me, you know, when I'm using my GoPro, I'm going hiking, I'm going camping, sometimes I'm going snowboarding, whatever it may be, I'm trying to use it in those action moments. So stabilization really matters to me a lot. And going from the 7 to 11 was very different. You know, when I use the 7, I still had to use like some additional warp stabilizer with Adobe Premiere Pro, and honestly, it was kind of frustrating. Sometimes it was kind of like just throwing the die and see if it actually works. And it was pretty frustrating. You know, sometimes the footage was still a little too jittery back then when I was using the Hero 7. But thankfully enough, when I finally bought the Hero 11, guys, if you're someone like me who wants to try and do less work in the future and trying to do more in the beginning, the 11 is definitely that type of camera to use and purchase now. Like, I definitely think that like when I went on the trip and when I dumped all the stuff into Adobe Premiere Pro and wanted to see, all right, time to get ready, time to use the warp stabilizer, time to track things in like After Effects or whatever, let's do all that type of jazz. The Hero 11, if you saw last week's video, check it out again if you haven't already. You know, some of the footages was completely smooth. Some of them I had to do some adjustments, but overall, most of the footage barely did anything. The hyper smooth function for the actual GoPro 11 definitely does its job. So I definitely think if you're maybe an average user who doesn't really have access to really nice softwares or editing softwares to stabilize more footage, the 11 does its job, does make things a lot less more cumbersome, and it makes things a lot easier. So if you're looking for something like that, the Hero 11 does its job to stabilize your footage. Last but not least, reason number 4, and this is probably my favorite thing actually now for the new Hero 11, and that's the versatility of the lenses. If you're coming from me, the big jump from the 7 to the 11, huge jump. This thing, I think it only has like super view and like wide. So it's not much of a difference between like a fisheye with a super kind of bigger fisheye. But if you're going from the 11, literally this thing has all different modes from like linear to linear plus horizontal lock. I didn't use that one particularly too much. I use also the wide, the super view, and then there's an option called hyper view. And I think that's like a much higher resolution you need to do in different higher frame rates, but didn't really use that much. But the versatility of having all those types of modes of like the viewability of your actual perspective was huge. You know, I don't know if you kind of realized within the actual video itself on my last week's video, but every single one kind of had different moments of different, you know, mounts, you know, from like the shoulder to like the stick to the snowboard itself, all that type of jazz. Just because I put on different mounts doesn't mean it's a little more interesting. Having the different types of perspective and pretty much like that whole perspective of wide, linear, all that type of jazz really made the footages a lot more, for lack of better words, a lot more flavorful. I particularly want to make my footage a lot more like interesting. I want to keep guys engaged and more excited to see what's next. Having those different types of perspectives is something that I'm looking for as a videographer. So, you know, if you're like me or you just want to show other people dope ass footage, but you just don't want to only have one type of thing, the versatility of this camera definitely has been opening so many more doors, in my personal opinion, for average users. Man, the perspectives of this thing, I can't wait to see what type of other footage I'm gonna get. So I really hope you enjoy if you're able to get this Hero 11 Black. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. I really enjoy making last week's video, just looking at all the GoPro 11 Black, like the Hero 11 Black series, and just all the footages was just super enjoyable. Barely did much. This thing survived for what I need to do. Honestly, I have no complaints. Like everything it can do it can do so much more than I expected when I was going from the 7. So if you're looking for that type of stuff, you're doing for my specific use, can it survive the actual extreme conditions of the cold? Check mark. Yes, it can. Can it stabilize? Hell yeah, it can. And also, is the image of this thing is really nice, and does it have other types of viewability of your footage? Check, check, and check. So if you're looking to this type of thing, I would definitely upgrade to the new Hero 11 Black. I have no complaints, and I'm super excited to see what it can do for me in the future. So if you haven't already, feel free to like this video. I really appreciate it if you kind of do that and help me with this whole entire channel. Comment down below. Would you actually upgrade, or would you actually also purchase the newest GoPro? Love to hear it. But if you haven't already, if you want to join this series, you want to see my life, you want to join the adventures of like snowboarding, hiking, camping, you know, all these types of product reviews, hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take it easy, and God bless. Peace. This is such a good camera. Guys, if you haven't upgraded, you gotta do it, honestly. I'm so glad you work, finally. Thank you so much, GoPro. Oh.